Hey, 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 it's a special merchandising howdy out there to all those reavers, roamers, stalkers, and ferals in the wasteland. We got all sorts of merch to talk about tonight and a few other things. We got some feedback. Uh-oh. My bad.
What happened? I lost my mouse.
All right, sorry about that, kids. Andrew, do you want to start over, or you want to? Sorry about that.
Fine. What happened?
I had this stupid YouTube. I had my game sound turned down, but the YouTube was. Do you want to redo, or you want to just
Hey, all
roll
you
with it?
YouTube live people, you just got yourself a show. Yeah, here. Let me. It's weird because my mouse stopped working at the same time, and it looked like Audacity crashed. So I thought that was my bad, but
Yeah, we had all sorts of technical difficulties.
You're welcome, YouTube. Here we go.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out, about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core of frozen atomic waste. From deep within the core of frozen atomic waste.
Hey, take two. It is a special merchandising howdy to all those reavers, roamers, stalkers, and ferals out there in the wasteland. Welcome to Fallout Feed, episode 80. I think it's 80. Andrew, is it 80?
Yes, sir, Patrick. It is.
Yes, sir. All right, this is Pat. I'm going to drive the show tonight. We're all joined by a good full crew here. We got Andrew in the house. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
Very well, sir. And how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Kara, so good to have you back 2 weeks in a row. Brilliant. Welcome back.
Why, thank you very much, Pat. It's great to be back.
Awesome.
Super. And we got Ray in the house tonight. Ray, how we doing?
Doing great, thanks.
All right, so we got a few miscellaneous topics to talk about. This is sort of technically our wrap up of a very successful roundtable. We got a little bit of feedback from our Fallout roundtable where we've done Nuka World and Tales of the Commonwealth. We got a little bit of feedback from a few Tales of the Commonwealth. Sorry. Tried to get that out there. Tales of the Commonwealth Quest, Power Play, Patriots, Three Little Wastelanders, and Adam's Glow. And we may hear from folks who are just kind of wrapping up their gameplay from a really good roundtable. We had terrific community participation this time around, so really good there. May touch a little bit. We do have a little bit of merch. We might hear from Denny's Podcatcher Review Corner. And we were worried about content, but I think we got a good bit to talk about tonight.
Big show, yeah.
So Kara, what have you been up to gameplay wise? Been doing any Fallout? Been doing any other gaming besides Mario Kart?
Right now I'm a little obsessed with Mario Kart because I got the brand new Switch and it's all shiny.
Nice.
Don't lie. We all know you're playing Just Dance Revolution Part 2 or whatever.
It's really cool. I like it so much. You can totally fake it out though. It's like, I did it perfect. I'm like, I just moved my hands. That's it.
Yeah. You have the two Joy-Cons in your hands. They should make you integrate the Wii had a balance board that you could do like snowboarding games and exercise aerobic stuff on. They should make you get that thing too, so that it can actually make you actually dance, because you can just sit on the couch with your Joy-Cons and pretend like taking it, right?
Yeah, it's still a workout in and of itself, but it's a lot of fun. But right now I've only just played the demo, and I'm gonna wait. I dropped a lot of money already, so I'm gonna bide my time and then finally get the full version.
Nice.
Because it's honestly a lot of fun. As for Fallout, I was able to kind of dip my toes back into it and remind myself just why I fell in love with it in the first place by coming in last minute for last week's show, which was a lot of fun, despite the fact that I continually got lost. And I was like, I don't understand where I'm supposed to go, who I'm supposed to talk to.
What were you doing? What were you doing, Kara?
The bunkers drove me crazy. let's see. Yeah, for the Three Little Wastelanders, trying to figure out the order of the bunkers drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Wolf showing up out of nowhere and so on and so forth. I actually hadn't cleared out the house where the Adam's Glow was. So when I first got there, it was occupied by raiders, and I was like, this can't be right. So I just confused myself a little with that.
Yeah. Yeah, those bunkers, I went online to figure out where the location was, the starting location, and I ran into a thread on the, I think it might have been, I think Chris has on 3dnpc.com a little wiki for Tales from the Commonwealth, and I was sort of reading some threads in there. And one was saying that it was super confusing. All these actually every comment was basically like, I couldn't figure this fucking one out. This one was like way too complex and it was really confusing and everything. And then I went to YouTube and I watched a little video about it too. And the guy also was like, I've been having trouble with this, so I finally figured out how to do it. I'm going to sit down and power through this one and figure out how we finally did it. So he did sort of like a tutorial video, but basically every reference to this quest that I found online was saying how confusing and difficult it was to actually figure out what you needed to do in order to get the quest to progress past a certain point. I think a lot of people just didn't find the intercom button in front of it wasn't Oscar. What's his name? Carlos, yeah. And I think a lot of people just didn't realize that there was an intercom that you had to speak to in order to launch the quest off.
Is that the one with the house and the turrets outside?
Yes. Look for the turrets on the porch, basically.
Yeah. So it's so funny because I noticed those turrets very early in my playthrough. Actually, before I even started any of the Tales quests at all, very, very early, I happened to be stumbling by that location. I noticed those turrets there. It's like, oh, this is new. This is a Tales thing. But I couldn't. I walked all around. I couldn't find it. I guess the door is inaccessible. I missed the intercom. So I didn't realize. And I was bad. I didn't play these last 4 quests. So now that I kind of know what that was, I need to go back and finish playing that, at least that one, because I had a lot of trouble really throughout the Tales playthrough of anything that required scripting. I just had a lot of the quests that required scripts, significant scriptings. They just wouldn't fire off for me. I had a lot of issues with that.
Ray, I think you were mentioning a similar thing last week, weren't you?
Yeah, because if you go through that area very often, you definitely recognize that they don't belong there. The thing that made it easy for me was that, the first thing I did was take out the turrets, and there's 2 out in front of the porch, and then there's 2 ceiling mounts up on the porch. I took all those out, and then the intercom was quite prominent.
Yeah, I don't remember if I killed the turrets or not. I don't remember. I don't remember if they were hostile. I'm not positive they were even hostile to me.
Yeah, I wasn't really taking any chances.
Blake kills everything if we.
Hey, Blake says howdy from the chat. Blake, how you doing?
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out, Blake. That's great. So Ray, you were also saying that you trot by there. Pat, you trot by there. You notice these.
Yeah.
Turrets. First of all, I would never ever fucking notice if there was a new turret at a random house on a road running by. That is one of the major drawbacks of being a dirty fast traveler, is you really don't learn the super intricate details of towns as you run by. So the question I wanted to ask you guys is, why are you running by there? What's it on the way to, and why are you going through that general area? What quest or whatever would you be heading off to pass through that area?
The green top's just right up that hill.
Yeah. It's across the street from the gullet, from the sinkhole, right?
Yeah. Yep. Do you go to the gullet for any specific reason?
Well, there's a quest. There's a quest in Bunker Hill where you go to the gullet, and there's also a. You guys were talking about the survival mag, the swimming survival mag. You get through the gullet.
Yeah, that's
find Grandpa Sabaldi's remains. Yeah.
Plus, that's a good guaranteed Deathclaw location if you want to go Deathclaw hunting and get some Deathclaw steaks, or if you want to go. Now, do you guys know about the behemoth that shows up right over the hill? It's not.
I
So,
kept having raiders chase me over that hill.
So that's a very busy intersection. You get wandering things, and you get the guaranteed death claw in the sinkhole, and you get the guaranteed blood bugs in the sinkhole, and of course you got the stuff that shows up at Green Top, and Lucas Miller will show up there sometimes. He has Green Top in his rota, but down the hill from Green Top, not sort of due south from Green Top, there is one of those little 3-wheeled mini cars that show up periodically. And this one is broken open. Sometimes those mini cars will be intact and you can like see stuff in the windshield and they'll be all shiny. This one is broken open. The windshield's busted, the top ripped off, and there's a Jangles the Moon Monkey sitting in the seat. And if you go pick up that Jangles, that immediately summons a behemoth right to that location, who immediately jumps all over you. And so if you're in the mood to go fight a behemoth, there's a couple of behemoth guarantee locations. There's Carhenge, there's that place where the Jangle summons him. So it's fun to actually take the behemoth and try to kite the behemoth over to the Deathclaw and get them to fight.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
that fight usually. I assume a behemoth.
Behemoth. Yeah. Now I don't remember if that Deathclaw ever levels. I was relatively low level last time I fought it, so it was just a regular death. The guaranteed Deathclaw down at the glowing sea will be level. It'll be alpha sometime, but I'm not sure if that sinkhole Deathclaw levels or not.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Anything other than just a regular Deathclaw.
Yeah, it may not level.
If you hop down in the gullet, is there like a waterfall, or is there a river that goes off anywhere? Is there anything?
Well, there's the sinkhole. You actually go in.
Yeah, I mean down in the hole.
Yeah, you go down the hole. But there's a
cave, I know, that you can go into.
Yeah, the cave, and it winds around to a cave, and you find Savaldi's hat. Although I went in there without getting the quest, and the hat wasn't there. So I think it's one of the ones where you have to get the quest for the hat to spawn. Yeah, you do. And you go down there. I think there's some ghouls, and then you can pop up. You actually pop up into a base, or you go out into a basement of a house, and you pop up into you exit the sinkhole through a house. And you can't go in the other way because it's chained shut. Yeah, but you can go out because of the chain.
And yeah, that's just the house, the town perched up on the.
Yeah, it's that little neighborhood that's in the sinkhole. Yeah.
What is that town called? Does that little neighborhood have a name?
It's the old Gullet sinkhole, as far as I know.
Yeah,
it's just part of Malden, right?
Malden.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because there's a hospital right down the road, right?
Oh yeah, I ran past there and it clicked off a quest objective. It said, "Good job bringing McCready back to the hospital," or something, right?
Is that? Oh yeah, that's his companion quest, which is actually his is pretty hard to get. I think you have to really suck up to him a lot to get him to fire off his quest.
I assume that I've done it at some point, but I don't recall immediately what his companion quest is.
Medicine for his son.
Yeah. You would probably remember if you had done it. It's pretty complicated.
Yeah.
And there's an area in that hospital that is inaccessible until you're there with McCready on his quest.
Oh, nice. Good deal. Well, just before we get into any feedback or anything really quickly, I just wanted to reiterate how important these listener feedbacks are to us as a podcast. We have built a little community here, and we depend highly on this community for the content of our show. So we just would like to thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for not only listening to the show, but really being a part of and contributing to the show in such a magnificent way. So thank you so much to everyone who contributed in any way all season long. It's been great. Pardon me if I leave out a name, but I'd just like to thank Adam, Leon, Paul, Victor, Jeremy, Keith, Pat. You even submitted some stuff, I guess. We have Lee, Ray, Sarah, Susan, who I assume was actually Laura, Blake. Hey, are you still in the YouTube? Thanks for sending in some feedback earlier. And yeah, I'm sorry if I had forgotten anyone. Paul, of course. Paul's been submitting stuff. It's just been such a big help, and we appreciate you guys so much. And
Did you mention Leon?
Leon, I believe I
okay, yeah. But anyway, nice long list. We can't remember everybody. That's just amazing. We had people jumping in a time or two, people jumping in nearly every week. So yeah, really amazing feedback from everybody.
And we
great stories.
Yeah, and we're trying a new thing this season where we were pulling some of the play along guys on to the show with us, which I think turned out really well, and I think we'll probably keep experimenting with that in the future. Thought that was great. So everybody, thank you so much again for participating in the show. And I don't know, do you guys want to get into some feedback, or do you want to do a couple of miscellaneous items and then get into some feedback here?
Sure, we can do miscellaneous. So we got a couple of a couple of things coming out over the past week or so. A couple things in the tie-in vein. We had what was the name of the? Is it just Fallout the game or Fallout the board game? That new thing that's.
I think it was just called Fallout. And,
yeah.
It's on Fantasy Flight Games, but it is it's called a board game, and I guess that is just the category more than a descriptor anymore, because from what I saw, you had hexagonal tiles that turn out to be your play surface or your AKA board, right?
Yeah, it looks like they're, so when you unlock an area, then you flip that over and it becomes, when you start out the game, they're question marks. And then as you uncover stuff in the wasteland, you turn it over and collect the space for your player.
Yeah, and that's a pretty common. So I mean, I think a lot of modern board games will do that because it gives you a little bit of variety in your game, so you don't have the same game board every time. It looks like it's one, like Ray says, you turn them all upside down, and there's red ones. There's some with red on the back and some with green on the back. So apparently, there must be some different category of tiles that you go by the back, and then you put them out randomly, and as you explore you. And if I read it right, there's maybe a mix of cooperative and competitive gameplay.
Yeah, and one thing Pat mentioned to me was that a lot of modern games now will have individual play, have solitaire play, and this one goes up to 4 players, so you can play in partners and in a group. You guys can go off an adventure together, or if you think that your objective can be met by better dividing up and doing all the jobs separately and then meeting up at the end for your completion, then they said you could also do that. So I thought that was impressive. The game is actually randomized somehow, which is also pretty cool. It said that there are certain locations that are going to be there every time, but they have any side quest, and they have ways of randomizing quests and going off and doing stuff. So I thought that sounded really interesting, and so I'm pretty stoked about checking out the little figurines. Look like I can tell from the picture actually how big they're going.
They're just like meeple sized, typical Clue or whatever type size. Little they look like little plastic molded figures. There's a ghoul with a plasma rifle. There's a super mutant with some kind of club. Yeah, there's a female adventurer with looks like some kind of big gun, maybe. A male adventurer in a vault suit with a big rifle that looks maybe a Gauss rifle, or maybe, and then a Brotherhood of Steel power armor guy with a Gatling laser.
Yeah, and this is not the tabletop game that we had mentioned earlier.
Correct. That's a Warhammer. This one looks like there's cooperative games there's a fair number of cooperative games out. It's a pretty popular genre. I'm looking to see what I'm just looking. I thought I read. I skimmed this when it first came out, and then I neglected to reread it right before we got on the air. I thought I saw an option where you could cooperate or. Because there are cooperative games, Andrew. I think you and I were talking about that maybe a few weeks ago, where that's where you only play together, and that's the entire point of the game. All the players win or all the players lose. Oh, hey, Wendy's in the chat too. How you doing, Wendy?
Awesome. Wendy.
So So anyway, this this kind of genre with the sort of randomized board and a variety of gameplay kind of out of the same. That's I think a lot of games have that, which is it's nice because it gives you a more variety of gameplay and adds replay value. And it says Q4 of 2017, so hopefully just in time for Christmas.
It will be on my list. I know that.
Yeah. So what about the other one, the miniatures game, which looks kind of Warhammer-esque? Because I am not a Warhammer, so that's I'm not sure that'll be on my list or not.
I don't even know what Warhammer is, but I assume it's a miniatures.
Yeah, it's miniatures
game. Kara is our resident tabletop expert. Would you be interested in some sort of Fallout tabletop miniatures game like that?
Oh, heck yeah. I don't know if I suppose I could get 1 or 2 sessions with a couple of people around. It sounds to me like that's a longer paced game, and I'm used to games that are much shorter because adults getting together is kind of like, all right, let's cram as much stuff into this evening as possible because the next time we get our schedules together will probably months down the road. But especially I like the idea of doing that as a single player too. It sounds like it could be a really great way to pass the time single player, but I think that'd be really fun to do with a group.
Mm-hmm.
Would a tabletop or board game, as our friend Craig suggested on Twitter, would they lend themselves to a round table at all? He was asking.
It depends on the game, how it's structured, and it would probably be very, very short. Although some can go longer. Catan could go for a couple of weeks or something.
I would say, just glancing at the board game, it looks like it would be a lot of fun just to record a game session. I don't know that it would really be a true kind of round table experience. I'm not sure that'd be, like it looks like. I'm trying to get a sense from the cards. It looks like some of these games, you'll pick a character and that character has a specific advantage / disadvantage, and so you kind of get the idea if you're playing a different character. Whereas there are other ones where you just have a token that's distinct because you need a distinct token, but all 4 people have the same starting character. And I can't tell from this one if you start out in a unique way or not.
And I can't really tell how the special is really implemented, other than you get like a card. There's different cards of categories and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it would be fun. How would we do that? Just like set up some.
I don't know that I would even. I mean, I think we need to see it. I don't know that I would even try a round table. I would just more say, hey, we'll play a game session online if we can figure out how to get a video of a. I think the tricky thing would be one person would have to kind of control the board and other people would look at it on camera. I think
camera here.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer and Newman are fighting over the Stratego board that has been.
Oh yeah, where they what was it? Kramer accused Newman of moving a piece.
Moving a piece, so they had to keep the board in the neutral territory.
Newman.
Oh, good stuff. Hey, so yeah, let's play some board games online. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out, but we'll figure out some way to incorporate it, Craig.
We'll all get a copy for Christmas, and then in January we can figure out how to play it.
The board game I think was going to retail for around $40. If I
60.
Damn, that's a little pricey.
It's pretty typical for those kind of games. So they're $50 to $60.
And there are a lot of moving parts in that.
Yeah,
so you're getting what you're paying for. So
that's what a video game is anyway. So you might as well pay that for a board game, which probably just as much work goes into. But I heard that miniatures version, the tabletop one, you might have to sink a pretty penny into it if you actually want to expand your miniatures collection. I think the original set only comes with like 3, and then you have to buy packets and expansions and stuff like that to get more figures. I believe I read that somewhere.
Yeah, that's this one is by, let's see, Wargaming, yeah, it is explicitly wargaming in the Wasteland, so very, very much kind of Warhammer-esque. And yeah, there's 3 BOS, so 6 BOS guys, Survivors, Institute. Yeah, this is definitely more collectible.
Yeah.
And what is Warhammer kind of thing?
Is that rolling dice?
You have a map and miniature. I've never played it. We have a map and miniatures, and I don't know. Is it dice or is it non? I don't know. I actually don't know if it's random. Kara or Ray, do you guys know? I've never played it.
I have no idea.
So some more like very traditional like hardcore war games. Sometimes they don't have any randomization at all because it's all about like pure strategy of the pieces. Others will have randomization, like a Risk, where you roll to attack and defend and things like that.
Nice.
The dog meat figure is awfully cute, though. I must say he is
totes of dorbs.
Totes of dorbs. Yeah.
We'll check out this game and report back to you guys when Q4 rolls around. I think that's when both of them were due out. I think the tabletop and the board game were both due out Q4. If I remember right.
Let's see, 3 to 30, high quality 32 millimeter. So that's about an inch, a little over an inch.
I'll have to take a look and see if there's an early edition playing at Dragon Con.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
they have a huge board gaming section.
Take pictures.
I wish that I went to Gen Con. Kara, do you come over to Indianapolis for Gen Con?
No, I've been invited a couple of times, and someday I'm going to make it over there.
It's a gigantic, gaming convention. I assume everyone knows about it, but I didn't know about it until I actually moved to Indianapolis a bunch of years ago. But I think this one is the 50th and supposed to be just outrageously huge. So crazy, yeah. Gen Con 50, Indianapolis, come out, everybody, and then tell me how the Fallout games are because I want to hear about them.
We got Lee is hanging out in the chat as well. So Lee, how are we doing?
What's up, Lee? Hi, everybody. That's so great.
Sorry, I missed Ruby earlier. Ruby Dice was in the. I don't know if Ruby is one of our regulars. I don't recognize that handle.
That's me. Sorry.
Oh, is that you? Okay. No, you didn't have to out yourself. You could have been incognito. That's all right. No pressure.
No, Pat. Our relationship is based on trust.
Hey, we got a big group. Casey's over in the chat as well. So Casey, how you doing?
Yeah, everybody.
Appreciate you guys stopping by and saying howdy.
Hey, let's go ahead and check in with some of those feedback people that I was dotting over so hard just a few minutes ago. So Jeremy, thank you, sir, for writing in. Did you guys have any thoughts before we check in with Jeremy?
Let's go.
All right.
Hello, Roundtable. This is Jeremy McDaniel checking in with my character Michelle Briggs for the Season 3 Roundtable, and this is a wrap-up of my character. Standing atop the Nuka World power plant, Michelle gazed toward Nuka World's 5 parks piercing the horizon as glittering fireworks lit up the dimming evening sky. It was a proper celebration for the now Raider-free Nuka World. Michelle had won the park for the Raiders just days before, having assigned all but the World of Refreshment to Mason and the pack. After Michelle had secured Galaxy Zone, she spoke to Porter Gage to celebrate their victories. Taking much of the park side by side with Gage, they became quite close friends. Hell, they were best friends. But Michelle's stomach turned when Gage began to suggest that their work was not done and he had plans to expand the Raider influence into the Commonwealth. General Michelle Briggs of the Minutemen's Commonwealth. This tore at Michelle inside. She finally took a moment to look at herself and look in the mirror and see what she'd become. Michelle ventured into the Nuka World marketplace and talked to the enslaved trader Mackenzie. She suggested that Michelle, as overboss, was the only person who could right the wrongs of the evil Raider factions and free the traders and free all of Nuka World from the Raider oppression. Michelle finally saw in the mirror and saw that she was the tyrannical Raider overboss that empowered these atrocious acts. This was not Michelle, and this was not her vision of the Commonwealth or Nuka World. It was not too late to fix this, though. Michelle knew what had to be done. In fear of his reaction, Michelle sent Porter Gage home because it was about to be open season on the Raider factions in Nuka World. Michelle tore through the factions with relative ease. They were not warned of her change of heart, but word spread fast after Michelle's first victim, the disciple leader Nisha, was put down like a dog, like the dog she was, with a flurry of 44 rounds in the head from behind. In her furious rampage of redemption, Michelle pumped bullet after bullet, missile after missile, grenade after grenade into the Raider hordes. And after hours of gun battle, Michelle put the nail in the coffin as she vaporized the last Raider leader, Mason, with a nuka nuke. The park was littered with Raider bodies and was finally free. Talking with the newly freed Mackenzie, Michelle began to feel at peace with her decision. She righted her wrong, but she feared how Gage was going to react to the news. She hoped he would understand. But Gage had a strong leader turn on him before, and she didn't know if he'd be able to see that this was different. Traveling southeast from Nuka World, Michelle began to see her Grey Garden compound appear on the horizon. Piper, Deacon, R404, or Mara, and Audrey all greeted Michelle as she approached, but Porter Gage wasn't in sight. The friendly greeting didn't last long as Porter Gage came around the corner of the compound and with a volley of gunfire attacked Michelle. Michelle's companions did not come to her aid. Small business, and it was up to Michelle to finish. Clearly, word from turning on the Raider gangs traveled quickly. Michelle didn't want to take down her friend, but was left with no choice. It was one of Michelle's most hard-fought battles. But after countless rounds and explosives, Michelle's best friend from her time in Nuke World lay dead. Propped Gage's body up against the compound wall to serve as a reminder to her of a once good friend, but also as a lesson for what she had done, or for what she had begun to do at Nuka World. Michelle would never trust a Raider again. That black-eyed Bobby had better hope he doesn't cross paths with her again. Michelle took several days to rest and reflect at her Grey Garden compound. It took a day or so, but Michelle came to grips with her time and decisions in Nuka World. The Raider factions in Nuka World, and for falling for those awesome pack armors. But she could rest easy that she freed the park and freed the enslaved traders. Michelle knew that her lapse in judgment didn't define her character. Even during her time in Nuka World, she was simultaneously doing good and helping those in need in the Commonwealth. And she had also met an amazing cast of characters along the way. So that's just kind of, I started to write a final prose. I didn't quite finish it, but it's long enough anyhow. But it just kind of goes into my thinking and my feeling of the character, or the inner thoughts of my character as she went through Nuka World, and at the end realized she'd helped create this powerful Raider faction. And then once she realized that Gage wouldn't stop at Nuka World, she realized that she'd made a mistake, and she'd made the same mistake in the Tales quest with Black-Eyed Bobby, and even I played that through where I tried not to I tried not to engage with them, but I ended up kind of role-playing a way to reconcile my character working with Raiders, because she's a Minuteman Commonwealth gal through and through, so it's kind of against her ways, but in the end she was happy with her decision, and she destroyed all of the Raiders. And sadly, her once good friend Porter Gage. Really, as I mentioned, she met an amazing cast of characters in the Commonwealth helping people, and that's kind of just speaking to all the Tales quests. Those were fantastic. I think my favorite was at this point, I forget the name of it, but it was the hippies at Fiddler's Green with Crystal Moonbeam. And sadly, in my playthrough, Crystal Moonbeam passed away, but I'll remember where she's buried forever, where the sun shines the brightest. I also really enjoyed the Bruce's the house that Bruce built with the baseball cult. I thought that was really cool. I liked that one. I liked the Patriots one as well. Being a Boston guy or living in Boston and seeing all the Boston sports, I really enjoyed those quests, obviously. But I thought the baseball one did a little bit better of a job, where it was just more interesting talking. Just, the quest was a little more complex, but also just the cult itself and talking with all the players. They had a lot more fun dialogue and just a little bit deeper of a story. Let's see. There was also, I really enjoyed the last Tales quest. I can't remember what that one was. I'm looking at my notes. Oh, with the Church of Adam's Glow. I really enjoyed that one. In that playthrough, my character, when you had the decision of, let's see, what was the girl's? Emily was going to be baptized in a lake of radiation, and that's against Michelle's better judgment. She's not kind of into these cults where they get people to do extreme things. But you had the option of going to find a doctor to help her with her cancer and her tumor, or to kind of just clear out that lake for her to be baptized by Father Malcolm. And usually my character would probably look for a doctor, but she kind of had a change of heart when she realized how far finding a doctor would be. Didn't want to travel across the wasteland for that. And she was like, well, hell, the doctor's already diagnosed her with this cancer that couldn't be treated, more than likely. So, what the hell is this doctor going to know? Who knows? Maybe this dunking her in a radiation lake might do the trick. And it did. Turned her into a ghoul, but it did seem to heal her. At least she seemed to think that she was healed. They're all nuts. But yeah, so that's Michelle. I also mentioned her Grey Garden compound in that little prose part. I followed the guidance of you guys with the gun storage glitch. It worked like a dream. I've had to do it a couple times because I keep reaching the cap. I think at this point my estimation would be it'd be like doubled. I doubled the max building amount so far. I haven't noticed anything really too heavy with my game loading any differently for the most part. And I promise I say it every time, but I'm gonna put pictures up of this thing. It's finally structurally I have it all built. I just have to finish decorating inside. But it's like 4 floors to get to the first part of the overpass by Grey Garden. So it's at the Grey Garden compound. It's 4 floors. I have like I use the snap build mod, and I have a greenhouse facade on 2 sides. So it's all glass on one facade, and then like windows and bricks on the other 2 sides. 4 floors. It's huge. It reaches the overpass. And then a 5th kind of deck, wrapperment, maybe you could say. What do you call it? Rappert? Shoot. Anyway. A 5th floor reaches up to the top of the overpass. And on the overpass, I'm using my sim settlements, and I've placed like building plots. And I have some of my companions are living up in some of the buildings up there. So it's got essentially the 5-story compound connecting it to the overpasses. I got obviously the robots in their greenhouse and all the plants with food. And then on the back side of the greenhouse, I also got a ammunition workshop or mechanism manufacturing deal. So I'm really happy with my assigned settlement of Grey Garden. I've really made it a home. I just got to finish decorating it out, finding comfy pillows to put on my beds, finding little decorations that you can't build to place in there, and also just a few other. I have basically one more floor to deck out and figure out how I want to decorate it. But it's pretty swank. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you guys. I'll have to do like a cribs video walkthrough or something. But who knows when I'll get to that. Anyway, so that's Michelle Briggs. She made it through the whole round table. I didn't think I'd be able to complete it all on schedule, but I did, and hit every quest. Loved the whole damn thing. She's at level 54 at this point. My assigned perks, I'll just run through them real quick. The ones that I actually filled out and achieved. I did Heavy Gunner to the max. Used the hell out of that. The one gun I didn't get to use a lot of was the minigun, surprisingly. I just never really got enough ammo, and I used it a few times and just ripped through all the ammo. But mostly the missile launcher and the Fat Man here and there are the main ones I used with Heavy Gunner. And the missile launcher really has just been, it's Michelle the Missile Briggs, I like to say. I did Demo Expert fully, and that helped with my Heavy Gunner, obviously compounding those bonuses for the missile launcher and whatnot. But I used tons of grenades the whole time. Used some mines. I found it difficult to use mines in playing this game, but it came in handy here and there. Did Lead Belly. I like that. As you get higher level, it becomes less necessary. I did my sneak all the way. Maxing that out is nice, but honestly, I feel like I probably would have just playing through another time. I'd only get it up to maybe the 3rd sneak perk, because beyond that, it unless you're really being sneaky all the time, it doesn't help too much, in my opinion. And also, I did better criticals, maxed that out. That's always helpful because, always got to use your VATs. I was also assigned Cap Collector and Robotics Expert. I didn't really get to those, but I ended up doing like perks to upgrading weapons and armor, science, blacksmith. Doing those ones.
Andrew, so we got some sound issues.
Probably just on our end. He's probably recording it just fine.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Hi, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
We're not sure what's going on. We kind of lost Jeremy's feedback right there. Sort of.
I bet it was the cricket.
A cord chewing cricket.
I waited a whole week.
Yeah, the great organizer is the one who's not here.
Yeah, I think we're Andrew. He may no telling. He may have. Oh, now he's dropped.
Yeah, internet.
Yeah, power, internet, something.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, maybe we'll wait for Andrew. So Jeremy's feedback was talking about when he mentioned freeing the slaves. That reminded me of one of my biggest pet peeves about Nuka World. That if you go anti-raider and free the slaves, there's not a quest to get those damn collars off those people. Did that bother anybody else? I really was expecting we'd have a quest to be able to take the damn collars off.
We're certainly open to have more, but I'm excited. We have a good number so far to start, so things are looking good. We'll probably keep it open to joining until the week before the season, and that's when we'll hold our draft sometime in that week before the season starts. I think that's September 7th, maybe September 8th, 9th, something like that. All right, that's all. Sorry this dragged on. We'll talk to you guys later.
Awesome. Thank you.
So Andrew, did you know we had like a drop there right in the middle of all that?
Maybe on YouTube, but not on my recording on this end.
Okay, but we heard there's about 5 minutes in the hangout where we heard nothing.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay, but just I don't know what's going to happen because we were kind of talking and we were sort of you dropped out. So anyway, we were about to start and then you popped back in. So it sounded like Jeremy was doing a promo for the fantasy football league. Is that what he was doing at the end there?
That sucks. I'm sorry, everyone on YouTube and you guys in the Hangout. You missed that, but just so you know, listen to it on the podcast, all the YouTube people, because there was some good feedback. So you missed 5 minutes of a chunk there.
Yeah, he was talking. He was doing his rap, and then he sort of faded off, and then you dropped out, and then we came out right at the tail end of his fantasy football league promo.
Anyway, when I came back in, you were saying something about collars.
Oh yeah, he was talking about freeing the slaves with his Michelle character, and that was one of my pet peeves about Nuka World is that you had no option to do a quest or something to get the collars off all the slaves. I thought that would have been a nice touch.
There you go.
The other thing is that you can put collars on. So I would think that they would be easy enough to animate coming off too.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, can't have everything. But that just seemed like such an obvious way to end a anti-raider version of Nuka World. I was a little disappointed, but whatever. It was
yeah.
Well,
Ray.
So it's kind of odd that Porter Gage didn't attract the attention of all of his followers at his settlement when they attacked.
No. Say that again?
Yeah, I don't.
So he was saying that when he got back to Grey Gardens and saw Gage after killing all the raiders, Gage started attacking him, but nobody else at the settlement.
Oh yeah,
came to his aid.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this will be confusing for the podcast people. Maybe you already acknowledged it on the live broadcast on YouTube, but. Lee, welcome to the show. How are you doing, Lee?
Greetings. Just thought I'd hang out. That dang Bethany of mine, she just wouldn't finish those quests.
well,
stuff happens.
Hi, Bethany. But do you plan on joining us in New Vegas?
I don't know, because right when you're starting up is when Dragon Con's on, so it's going to be
a busy
rough start.
Man, yeah.
I think.
Ray is also involved in that. Yeah, that'll be great. So I had a couple of thoughts from Jeremy's. Again, I apologize. I don't know what you guys already talked about. But in Jeremy's feedback here, he mentioned a Nuka Nuke. Is there actually something called a Nuka Nuke provided by the Nuka World?
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah, it's a mini nuke that. You can craft. You could find a couple of them, and you can also find the craft. I think you can find a crafting recipe to make them.
I never found that. So
I think I remember right. Ray, is it? I think it's a mini nuke variant.
Oh, I assume. Does it add bottle caps to it or something? That'd be fun.
Well, and they put a bunch of hand grenades in too.
There's a Nuka grenade. Which I know you can get the recipe for the Nuka grenade. Maybe I can't remember if you can craft the Nuka nukes or if that's something that you just find a few of.
That's great. Cool. I really liked his Grey Garden build. I'd like to see some pictures of that. So upload some of those pictures sometime.
Yeah, I liked how he described it as like show you my crib. Now I want a series of Fallout 4 cribs.
Definitely Skyrim cribs.
Yeah.
That'd be great to see some Fallout cribs. That's awesome.
Yeah, like little 5-minute segments of YouTube videos of people showing off their sick pads.
I'd like to see Jeremy's shoe room.
Pat's Kingport Lighthouse.
Oh, it's a dump, man. I've done nothing there because my character didn't get local leader, so I couldn't add stuff. I mean, I later could have added it, when I got her up to ridiculous levels. But I was kind of taking pride in the terribleness of my lighthouse. Poor Hancock, he was my follower. So after I stooped him, I sent him over to the lighthouse and just told him to hang out. So.
I know how you feel, Pat. I couldn't build at all. You know, I'm a big settlement guy. I love bossing people around and building stuff on the settlement. And it was just really upsetting that I could almost build nothing on my settlement because of all my crazy bugs. Let's see. He crystal moonbeams, burial places where the sun shine the brightest. That was very nice. And then he mentioned the baseball quest as being one of his favorites from Tales from the Commonwealth. And I just wanted to mention again, Ray has written a mod that puts the Fallout Feed logo on baseball caps. So Ray, have you loaded that? I didn't want to load it mid playthrough.
I haven't got the graphics looking. The uniform looks good, but the hat's still a little sketchy.
But
I haven't published that.
Did you have it applied when you went and did this quest? Was everyone wearing Fallout Feed?
Yes.
Uniforms? Oh, that's so great.
No, and actually, I've got to load a character and go in there and get some pictures. I think after I kill them all, I'm gonna lay them all up in a line so that you can see the back of everybody.
Oh, that'd be great. Kill them all, Ray. Kill them all. What? Could you remind us? Is it searchable in the Xbox mod store and all that?
The flag is.
The flag. Okay. Yeah. Remind us what our search term would be if we wanted to go find your mod.
I think I just called it the Fallout Feed craftable flag.
The Fallout Feed.
Something
flag.
Very creative.
Nice. That'll be great. So everyone go out and get your the Fallout Feed craftable flag. Take some screen caps and post it to us on Twitter and the Facebook group. That'd be fun. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted to see his settlement. Yes, we like that gun storage glitch. That's always something I like to do.
Which one is that? I'm sorry, guys. I missed that. What glitch is that?
When you're building and you run out of room and you go and you take all the guns out of your.
Oh, okay. All right. I did listen. Okay, that's I heard last week's show, but I heard the description of what to do. I didn't realize it was to make the buildable area larger. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny because I've never put guns in my workbench. And I always put it in a container next to the workbench.
That's great, Lee. I'm glad you mentioned that because the next point I wanted to bring up was his storage techniques. When I build stuff, I always build like these huge big platforms with like intricate towers going up, and then I want to put like my bed and a storage container and some really nice stuff, a trunk and all that stuff up in this sort of tower. And I want to go and have all my stuff divided up into all these different containers, and everything is nice and organized. But then I get really sick and tired of it eventually, of having to go all the way up this fucking tower every time to store my stuff. So eventually I just end up dumping everything into the workbench anyway. But early on, I used to only store stuff, and it got tedious. So I was going to ask you guys, do you just how do you store all your stuff? Do you dump it in the workbench, or do you have separate compartments, or what do you do?
I had a question about the workbench. If you do put guns in it, are they available only at that location, or do they share across other stuff?
So your workbenches within a single settlement, the workbenches in that settlement are connected completely. But when you talk about across settlements, the only things that sort of match are like your craftable stuff. So like your physical objects like guns and armor, you can't share from one to the other. Yeah.
The only category that is shared between different settlements is the junk.
I think aid isn't aid shared? Like can't you use
food and all that stuff?
Yeah, so like you can use your purified water in your water farm to make adhesive.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you can use that in your adhesive farm across the Commonwealth if you have provisioners.
Adhesive farm. He mentioned a missile launcher that was because he went through his assignments there at the end. Big guns was one of his main assignments. He mentioned missile launchers, and I was curious if he ever got the get his science up so he could get the quad barrel with the auto lock and all that stuff. Because once you max out those missile launchers, they get really fun. He mentioned Piper as a follower. He thought she was a really shitty in battle, quote.
Not as bad as Preston.
Preston's bad.
Oh, he's horrible.
Who's the worst? Who do you guys hate the most in combat? Well, you guys don't even like followers. Your opinions don't even count.
Dog meat is the worst in combat.
You don't like dog meat?
He gets under my feet all the freaking time, just like a real dog. It's too real.
But he'll grab a hold of somebody and hold on to him for you.
Yeah, that is a good thing. I like it when he holds on to him, or like will tackle a raider to the ground and you can just walk up to him and VATS. You don't even have to worry about it. Yeah, I kind of like dog meat. Codsworth is a little annoying. I don't like Strong, but that's not because of his fighting technique. It's just I don't like his dialogue.
Yeah, and he hates everything. Yeah. Anything interesting you want to do, Strong hates it. Codsworth is I feel like he's kind of fragile, but he's good with that buzzsaw and his flamer. He's good to fight.
Is good for close-ups,
especially early.
Yeah. He's great to take around with you. Do Concord and take him around early on. Yeah. Yeah, he's like if you're running around like trying to clear out Gorski Cabin or some of those early tough locations.
Especially if you're a rifle or a ranged guy, because Codsworth will rush into battle and you can sit back and fire. But that's not generally my play style, so Codsworth doesn't. Sometimes he gets in my way, like Kara was saying about dog meat is under her feet. I kind of feel like Codsworth is under my feet when because we kind of have a similar battle style. Even though I'm not like a melee weapon, I still like the shotguns or like the up close weapons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like he floats in and out of my way a little bit. Jeremy was just saying that his quest, the round table portion of this character is over, but he's now just getting into the main story, which is awesome. So he's going to continue on this character, and I suggest to him, Jeremy, please just keep on sending in some feedback if you'd like to about the main quest, because we always like to hear your adventures there. I haven't done the main quest in forever, and I was really excited to get through the main quest with this roundtable character.
Not so much, huh?
Aw, bless.
It didn't work. So I got to the part where he is at right now. I to build the Zapparoonie. What's it called? The transapparator? The transmogrifier?
the transporter.
That thing. I think it's a transmogrifier. That's my fave. But he was saying the railroad is his assignment, but his follower is X688, and I said that might be an impossible.
Just don't take him in the railroad.
Think
Pardon?
Yeah, we're losing him again.
Andrew's having massive packet loss.
It's that cricket. I'm telling you guys. Andrew, cough twice if you're in trouble. It'll take me like 2 or 3 hours to get there, but I can come to your rescue.
Very noble. Very noble.
Thank you.
Earlier, when somebody was talking about cribs, made me think, of course, of baby cribs. And I was remembering that when I first started playing Fallout 4, I had played Fallout 3 in New Vegas. And the first time I came across a baby carriage in Fallout 4, I was terrified.
Yep.
Because in 3 and I think in New Vegas too, they were almost always booby trapped.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Lee. I still avoid baby carriages.
Yeah, and in Fallout 4, I've never seen them booby trapped.
No, they have shit in them sometime, but they're never booby trapped.
Yeah.
Well, until you get to Jamaica Plain and you go up on that raised area, there's a little bus stop there, and you're tootling along. Oh, there's one of those innocuous baby carriages. Kaboom!
Yeah.
There's a mine sitting next to it in the grass.
Okay.
You can't blame the baby carriage for the mine, Ray. Come on. It's not the baby's fault that his mommy clumsily left a mine right by the baby carriage.
That makes me think of BioShock and people pushing around empty baby carriages with like just random junk in them.
Yeah, I was about to say, Kara, Those baby carriages remind me of BioShock. I haven't played it a ton, but the little bit that I have, it's not. It's very unsettling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they drove me nuts in 3.
Yeah. But see, I haven't been exposed to them in the other aspects. So in Fallout 4, I just run up to them.
Oh yeah. So is that going to in New Vegas? Is that going to screw us over?
No, I don't think they're booby trapped in New Vegas, and they're not as plentiful.
Okay.
Yeah, not nearly as many.
I don't remember them being booby trapped, or at least not any serious degree. But in 3, yeah, any baby carriage in 3 is to be avoided.
Hey, thank you again, Jeremy, for your feedback. We'll go ahead and hop into Paul's feedback now, and then I'd like to extend a special warm thank you to Paul. I've really, in particular, really enjoyed your feedback. You're always very detailed, yet to the point, and I'd really like to thank you for your influence of introducing me to the follower mod. That you mentioned that encouraged me to go grab every follower in the game. So that was
we have
really
him to blame for this.
Yeah.
So he's your enabler.
Paul,
it's actually Todd Howard's fault. Putting those damn things in the game in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and last week when I was racking my brain trying to remember, who had shot the video, it turned out it was Paul. He did the play along video, partway through.
Some video feedback. Yeah, that's right. That's great. But yes, Paul, thank you so much for submitting all season long. You've been great, and I've really enjoyed hearing your adventures. So let's go ahead and check in with Paul. Thanks.
High charisma, low agility build with the unlimited companion framework. When we left off last time, there was a report of a revolt back at Nuka World. So we jumped back to Nuka World and arrived to a gunfight. The disciples were on the losing side. We pushed in and headed towards the disciples' headquarters in Fizztop Mountain. Our squad took down Dixie, Savoy, and the rest went down pretty quickly. We headed off towards the power plant. We met up with the gang leaders and took off towards the top of the hill. I died almost immediately. Never lead from the front. Back in time to meet the gang bosses again, and this time follow the bosses up the hill. I got lost yet again inside that damn power plant, and by the time we made it to the roof, the battle was almost over. I did get the killing shot in on Anissa and grabbed the key off her to watch the fireworks show. So we went back to the Commonwealth, to the old bookstore, and got to talk to a historian. And she said I should go off and find some Patriot memorabilia. So off to some oddly dressed super mutants and their coach, and got from the coach we got an old sports almanac, and then went back to the historian, who was very disappointed. Then we went off to Milton to talk to 3 other people hiding in a series of murders. We were approached by a person with a plan leave and live a life of adventure. The bunker below was under control of a child. We convinced Carlos, the child, that sharing was a good idea, and we got 1,000 caps from our stranger. Then went off to do the Adams Glow quest, and I searched up and all down the west bank of that lake and couldn't find the starting point. I got frustrated. The next day, I decided to try one last time, and this time I found a door in a house that had a boat crashed into the porch. That led down to a basement church, and there was a woman, Emily, that had a brain tumor, and the church was her last hope for a cure. The preacher wanted us to clear up some super mutants in the waste dump to the south. We did that, and when I returned, I saw a message about an option to get a doctor had failed. Everybody went to the house, and Emily's baptized into a ghoul. But I didn't like that ending, so I went back on an old save and went looking for that doctor. We found one in a clinic near the diner southwest of County Crossing. The power man was gone, but the two children were still there, and we talked to the doctor. He said he was looking for Emily. Well, at least we thought it was Emily. We headed back to Emily and give her the good news. The members of the church objected and turned hostile, and we had to kill them to take Emily away. The doctor operated and it was mostly successful. Emily lost an eye, but she was happy with the result. I then decided to do some of the other remaining quests from Tales from the Commonwealth, and halfway between Murkwater Construction and the railroad tracks to the west, you get a signal called Paradise Bay. And I found out there was a fraud going on there. That's an interesting quest you should do if you have the time. I was playing through the rest of the quest, and when we got to and went to the railroad headquarters and did what I needed to do to become an agent, I recruited 404 as a follower and decided to let Kate and Gage go home. I did the little quest, Hail O Infantry. That took me back to the clinic. I was happy to see Emily was working as a nurse, eye patch and all. I will probably play the game at least long enough to get 404's quest done. Things I learned. Followers aren't so bad, except for dog meat. That damn dog will stand at any doorway you want to go through. I've learned that you don't need VATS. With an agility of 1, the number of VATS shots I had was so small I had to do it without more often than not. And sneak is nice, but you'd be surprised how unperceptive NPCs are in this game. But mines definitely suck. Steam says I have about 38 hours in New Vegas. It must be spread out over 4 character starts. So maybe I'll have an excuse to finish the game later in the year. I'd love to see that suggested mod list that you've been talking about.
All right. Ray, you had a suggested mod list. He led you perfectly right into that.
Yeah, I've been playing around. It's still really... I've got a little too much going on, I think. So my gameplay's kind of stuttery, but it looks fabulous. So I'm getting close. It's a little trickier to mod New Vegas than it is Fallout 4. So definitely at some point I'll have to put together some of the stuff that I've got to be able to do that. And so right now I've got a couple of some good texture packs going. I think I'm going to try taking out some of the gun mods that I put in, because one of the problems is one of the mods has moved the iron sights out of the field of view, and so I shoot them with the iron sights. I don't use VATS and or the little reticle. I just use the iron sight. So if you can't shoot that way, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of no VATS, he said he figured out he doesn't need VATS because he had such a low agility. I don't know if I could play like that. I think I would start investing perk points and agility on the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I'm playing a gun character, I literally never use VATS. It's just it's easier for me to shoot from the gun than it is to shoot from VATS. I'm a lot more accurate than it is.
I tend to use VATS at closer ranges and at longer ranges, especially if I've got a scope. I'll forgo VATS.
I don't even carry a gun with a scope ever. unless I have just picked one up. But I don't ever like set up a shot from long range and pick people off from. I need to play the game like that once.
Yeah, you like shotguns, so you don't even usually put a sight on a shotgun.
No, there's no point. I don't put a sight on. I don't put a ring at the end of it. I just.
I do the whatever they call the ring with like the little glow sight. I like that. I'll put that even on shotguns and pistols. Like I like that on Kellogg's pistol because that helps me get. I'm kind of like Lee. I tend to use the sights at long range, but that's at close range.
Yeah, but even if you don't use the sights, doesn't adding it on still like supposedly up the accuracy of your gun?
It does, but it slows it down, right? So it's a balance, and so I unless I'm specifically doing a sniper. Well, there are 2 times I use this. Sometimes if I'm specifically using a sniper build, then I'll do a scope because there's perks and there's reasons you'd want to do it. And then sometimes if I'm in the mood, sometimes I like to play around with the recon scope. So sometimes I'll carry like a 10 mil pistol with the recon scope, just to use the recon scope for scouting things out. And that's fun sometimes. It's it's not really necessary, but it's fun to pick up that recon scope and use it to scope out new areas.
Okay, I have a statistics question for you, Kara and Pat and Ray and Lee, whoever can answer this. Does that accuracy buff kick in only if you have it aimed with the sights pulled up, or if you shoot from the hip, is it also more accurate?
I think it depends.
From the hip is different, isn't it?
As if I don't like engage my aiming, it's just like, because like with a shotgun, I don't even aim half the time because it's a wide spread, so it just wherever I'm shooting from it.
Based on how the special stats are, like the perks that you can get, I'm going to assume that they are separate. So I think I'm going to retract my statement earlier of like, oh, if you just put it on anyway, it works out. So yeah, I think it would be pointless for that. But I tell you what, I love me some rifle shots. I love sniper shots. There's nothing better than the thrill of shooting someone far off in the distance, just nailing them, and they just go down, and everyone else is like, what the hell?
That is such a bizarre build to me, Kara, because you are also a power armor user, so like a power armor sniper. Steel would need snipers and stuff like that, so they do exist, but there's just such like a sort of, I always associate power armor with a sort of like a more up close and personal.
Well, the power armor is to keep the nearer guys off you while you take out the guys at range.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Plus, I grew up learning that safety was very important. It's important to wear your helmet when you're on your motorcycle and so on and so forth. So it's important to have your padding on.
There's 2 different numbers. So every weapon has their how quick they come out of the holster. If you have a short barrel, long barrel. So if you go from VATS with no gun, in your hand, there's a delay and an accuracy loss on that first shot.
Oh,
based on the fact that the gun has to come out.
Yeah.
Versus if you have it, yes. So no, so hip fire accuracy is a number, and you'll see it when you pull up a gun. And when you're modding it, you can see the change in hip fire accuracy.
Yeah. Games like this that are stats based used to have the numbers pop up above the person's head with how much damage you did to that enemy. Do that, because I'm always sort of interested how many HP
So that's a perk.
There's a perk that you can do that, but can you see like the numbers pop up of the damage that you're doing, like an old style?
There may be a HUD mod for that.
New Vegas, the New Vegas version of awareness, which I forget what it's called, tells you what damage you do. So yeah, so the awareness perk is the one that in 4 it gives you what their resistance is, total hit points, and level. I think are the 3 things awareness gives you in Fallout 4, but it doesn't tell you. But in New Vegas, it's similar, but then it also tells you like what damage your attacks do.
Nice.
I think that's the same perk. It's been a long time since I've used that perk. Arthur's too much of an idiot to have that one.
We'll get into it, I'm sure, here with our New Vegas roundtable coming up. And Paul, I hope you said you were looking for an excuse or something to maybe get into some New Vegas again by the end of the year. Well, I'm hoping that you'll join us for the roundtable and do a play along again with us, Paul. I really enjoyed your feedback. Paul's feedback didn't cut out or anything like Jeremy's did live, right?
Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
But only a little.
Paul's feedback cut out too. Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry for the live people. So embarrassing. But just know, if you'd like to hear the complete version, the podcast recorded it just fine and dandy. So check in at iTunes and you can hear the full version. He mentioned in his feedback that Ray, you played it both ways as well. He had to reload and went back because he didn't like how Emily becoming a ghoul ended the quest. He didn't like that, so he had to reload and went back and found the doctor and stuff. Ray, you said you also played the quest that way.
Yeah,
and Emily lost an eye and everything.
Yep. But I didn't get to see all the interaction because that was where I couldn't get her to come out of the bunker. So I had to console command the to the next step in the quest.
Yeah. But then Paul continues that it goes into another quest where Emily's working at the clinic and there's yet another continuation, and then he mentioned some other Tales quest that goes off, and I'm sitting here thinking, how the fuck did I miss those, Ray?
There were quite a few of them that we didn't do.
Where was I in the schedule making that I missed all these quests?
Maybe they've been added since.
I don't know, man. Like, it could be, but
you didn't try to do all the quests when you made the schedule, did you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember that we had any effort to get them all because there's definitely some. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we didn't collect them all.
I don't think so.
Kara, are you still collecting them all?
No, but I can.
That's I remember you were really into that for a little while.
Yeah.
Paul mentioned 404. Is that a synth follower in the railroad?
No, I don't know. I couldn't find it.
It's a Tails character. Isn't that the one that says all the goofy comments leaning against the wall in the railroad?
I don't remember her having the number 404. I think I would have gotten that joke.
Yeah.
File not found.
Yeah. I hated that character. She would never shut the fuck up.
Oh, I know.
She was the worst. I had to literally murder her just to shut her up.
She needed like 10 or 12 more lines at least.
Oh, good. Yeah. Too frequent of a cycle.
Yeah.
I think that we have expressed time and again how awesome this collection of quest is, this mod Tales of the Commonwealth. And I don't want to put down the mod in any way, but can you guys remember any super annoying things that you did not like about the mod? Any voices that were grating? Anything that was annoying about it that you? Any complaint?
That chick in the railroad was the absolute worst for me because that railroad location is very small, right? So and you kind of act. There's a lot to do there because there's Carrington and Desdemona and Tinker Tom and Pam. So there's a lot of people you have to interact with in a small space.
That's true.
And you could hear her wherever you were in the space. And she was one of the ones, she would come up to you and force you into a conversation. And that's when I just lost it and had to murder her because I was trying to do one of the quests, talk to Carrington or some such shit. And she just stood up and interrupted me and forced me into a conversation. And at that point I just killed her.
So did the others care about you doing that?
No, they did not. I did a quick save just in case, but they did not care at all.
Good job.
Yeah, I was very pleased to have her dead.
They didn't even know she was there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because they use their normal behaviors, but I mean, for me, the biggest thing was not the character stuff, and I don't blame Chris at all in the mod because I know you could never have perfect results. But I just had a lot of issues with quests not completing, so I felt bad about that. I was frustrated that several of them just would not complete for me.
I didn't have any problems with them not completing. My biggest problem was trying to find the start points.
Yeah, that was difficult for me sometimes too. Yeah,
I thought the list, Andrew, except for that one Lee that you and I were batting around,
we had to go in and literally alter the website and update the website.
Yeah, that was the only one that was really bad. I thought the other ones from the wiki were pretty okay.
Well, the ones for the bunkers one was just kind of like go to the town above the gulch or the whatever and the sinkhole and good luck. Just like,
yeah,
a little bit more. It should have been like find the house with extra armament in the town above it.
Or houses fashioned into bunkers. That would have I would not have been looking for that militaristic kind of compound looking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of
No,
but maybe we're being fussy.
Again, I apologize. That's a nitpick. We love the mod. It was great, and it provided us with tons of great entertainment for the last bunch of months. So,
and we've mentioned Chris's website 3dnpc.com. He also has a Patreon. Patreon page, and of course, Patreon you can do any amount. You can do $1 a month or whatever. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, go check out. I'm trying to pull up his link. I think it's 3DNPC on Patreon, but let me.
And most of the time, they also have the option of just doing a one-time donation if you want as well.
Oh, great!
Yeah, lots of options. Patreon.com/3DNPC. And he has. I don't know if he has any special. He has updates and things that you can get. I don't recall if he has any particular rewards or anything for subscribers.
And the only problem I had was that the characters wouldn't go aggro most of the time, and they were way too easy to kill.
Oh, they weren't beefy enough for you, Ray?
I mean, other than the ones in the Adam's Glow, they were the only ones that would put up a fight of any kind.
I did find a couple of times where I killed someone in the mod, and the whole room should have turned on me, and they didn't. You know what I mean.
And in some of them, well, like in the first one we did with One-Eyed Bobby.
Oh, that
guy. He wasn't set to essentials, so you could kill him, and then the quest was quest. All the subsequent ones would do that.
Wasn't it Black-Eyed Bobby?
Was it Black-Eyed?
I think.
But there were quests after that connected to that guy. So like, would that kill that whole like 4 or 5 quests in a row?
Yep,
probably. Yeah.
Wow, that's set the guy to essential, man. Come on, that's hilarious. All right, so again, Paul, thank you so much for your feedback, and again, we hope you join us again in New Vegas. And speaking of New Vegas, Ray, what are we doing with this roundtable thing? Do we have any updates, or what are we planning on here? What's going on with the roundtable season 4?
Well, so we're shaking it a little bit, and things are starting to settle out. I think we'll have a good schedule that is easy enough to keep up with, and challenging enough to keep everybody interested. Certainly go on the ASA podcast Fallout feed page and play around with the character generator, and we'll be rolling our own here pretty quick.
Yeah, you guys had mentioned that we wanted to actually start running the quests after Labor Day. So, like, a week or two after the Labor Day weekend. But you said you would like to go ahead and roll characters soon. So we were going to do that as sort of like the intro episode for the roundtable, that we were all going to get together and roll our characters live on the air. Which we've done that before. I think we did that with Skyrim once, and I think we've done that with the Fallout Roundtable a few times. It's a fun episode. I really
that was a lot of fun. We did that for Skyrim.
I wanted to do that like soon, and then to get a couple of weeks with your characters in order to before we actually start the quests. Right? Am I understanding that correctly?
There's only a couple of weeks left before Labor Day.
Yeah, so I just wanted to like have sort of Labor Day weekend, that holiday week and stuff, free to be able to play if we could. So if we could do what we got,
we're gonna do it. We can do that next episode if you guys want to.
That would work for me.
Sure.
So what the 10th, so the 17th. We can,
yeah.
So that'll give you about 2 weeks of prep stuff to go for, and then we can do our first batch of episodes, which will actually just be the tutorial episodes anyway. So you'll actually get another week on top of that, really, to run your real quests.
Yeah, because the Labor Day weekend is when Dragon Con is.
Oh yeah. So
that Thursday after, Lee and I will still be trying to recover.
Okay, so we can even start it 2 weeks. After that, if you want to, that's fine by me. I don't care. It'll give us time to dive into some side quests, because we're not assigning any side quests. So that's what I'll try to concentrate on with my character. Once I get the faction role, try to go do all that faction side stuff. That'll be good. Try to level up that way. Kara, are you thinking about joining us in New Vegas?
Heck yeah! There's no school in my way, is there?
Oh, that's
nice.
Yeah, she's got nothing holding her back.
I'm a free woman.
Footloose and fancy free.
Did you buy it on a PC? I thought. Did you have it on the Steam sale or something? Did you buy it? If I remember?
Yeah, BlizzCon. There was not this particular year, but the year before, they were having a really big sale, and I think they're having another one. Was it recently or is it coming up? Anyway, so I got it for pretty much dirt cheap. I mean, not that it's super expensive considering it's an older game, but
2008 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it just like it was just air.
Great. Did you get all the DLC and stuff with it too?
I think so.
Great. Not that we're getting into that yet, but I'm sure you can always tack that on. Pat, speaking of DLC and game here, there seems to be some sort of new package of Fallout coming out that has all the DLCs in the game and improved graphics and all this, and comes with a new Pip-Boy edition and stuff. What's going on here with this new release that we're hearing about? Did this, Pat?
He's muted.
Ray, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So they've launched the Pip-Boy edition of the Game of the Year, and so it'll come with the texture pack, all the new all the DLCs, including the workshop ones and everything, and $99
for the
Pip-Boy.
Is there any reason, if I have all the DLC already and play on Xbox so I can download mods and stuff, is there really a reason for me to upgrade and get the Game of the Year edition? Sell me on that. Why would I?
No, there's absolutely, unless you want the Pip-Boy.
That sick Pip-Boy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. If you want to spend 99 bills on the Pip-Boy, then yes. But if you have everything else, there's absolutely there's no. I think when they're talking about the upgraded graphics, I think they're talking about the texture pack you can get for
free.
PC, which you can get for free anyway. Yeah. So if you want it on a new platform, if you really want the Pip-Boy, sure. But if you have it on your preferred platform already, there's absolutely no reason to buy it.
Good
Now,
stuff.
weren't they saying that this is an American only or North American only release, or at least for the Pit Boys?
Did not notice that.
I did see that. You're right.
Yeah, that was something that I noticed. It's like, oh, that sucks, because this is a very limited re-release, for people who didn't get the Pit Boys the first time around, and I'm like, ooh, that sucks for people in other countries. Well,
Wendy mentioned that she thinks that there's some tie-in with free access to the Creation Club mods.
Yeah, I think people are. I think maybe Shalene was speculating on Twitter. So or somebody. It's somebody I follow on Twitter was speculating that it may be tied into Creation Club, because the question being, why would they do a Game of the Year edition almost 2 years later?
I think you're right. It was Shalene.
Yeah, when is Creation Club supposed to happen?
That there's no date other than later this year. I think if I remember right, everything Fallout or Skyrim related that's been announced is supposed to happen this year. The VR releases, the Creation Club, all that stuff. I think it's supposed to come out this year.
Pat, you gonna bother with the VR stuff? Probably not, right?
Probably not. Yeah, I that's not the kind of thing I would typically. I'll be an early adopter on technology that I'm more familiar with, but some VR, I don't expect I would be an early adopter.
You need to early adopter ass some Mario Kart is what you need to do, Pat.
I've already told you.
Early adoption anymore.
We don't do driving games. It's not a thing that I do.
If I had the money, I would get a VR system. I used to think that, it wasn't anything really, it's just a gimmick, so on and so forth. And then I went to a place called Scene 75, and I tried the VR stuff, and I tried the lab. It's from the same people who made, it's Valve. And I got to tell you, it blew me out of the water. Seeing someone play it, in a video is one thing, and experiencing it yourself is a completely different thing. And it takes some getting used to. It really does. But I loved it. I kept bashing into the walls, but I loved it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Is it something with normal controls, or do they have special controllers so that you can get
special
arm movements and stuff?
Yeah, special controllers. There are even some games where, you point and click where you want to go, and others have these cool little motions where, you raise your hands forward, you grab something on the controller, you press a button down on both of them, and then you swing your arms back like you're skiing or something, and you just kind of shuffle forward in the game. So hopefully the mechanics will change in the coming years, but overall they're finding neat and creative ways to kind of get around certain things.
Until we all have our haptic suits.
I'd like to experience it at some point, but there's no way I'm going to go out and buy special equipment.
Well, a couple of years ago when I got my Samsung phone, they've got a VR headset that pairs with it, and so I got that, and it's a lot of fun. It's rough on the phone because the phone overheats pretty quick when you're playing a game on it. But
what sort of games can you play with VR on your phone? Probably not as well.
There was a little touchpad on the side. Or you could use a regular game controller, Bluetooth game controller. But
when are you going to be able to put on just like a headset and it's going to be able to read your body motion, and you won't have to have a controller? It'll actually be really.
Yeah, that's not too far. It won't be in the next generation, but actually, the following ones should be, somewhere in that range. I know that Microsoft is doing a lot of stuff with their learning from Kinect, to be able to put that stuff together. So the big leap that they're really pushing for right now is losing the cord. The Oculus Rift, the Vive, and the PlayStation, you're tethered.
That's
got to figure out how to keep that out of the way when you're moving around.
In order to make that wireless, it's going to have to like have a beam of radiation so bad it'll give you brain cancer immediately.
Well,
correct?
they'll have to put the whole computer in the headset.
In the headset, yeah.
So,
Crazy.
But yeah, so I'm timing mine with the next generation of the HTC Vive from Steam. And at that point, I'll jump into the Fallout 4. It'll be on virtual reality by that time.
Nice. Well, Skyrim, is there plans for Skyrim too?
Skyrim is going to be on PlayStation, I believe.
Nice. That'll be cool. But you don't have that. You do everything PC,
No.
right?
Yeah.
No, not a console guy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Especially not after my experience at the Podfest. It was
I forgot
quite
about that.
frustrating.
I saw Ray play with the controller. Was that you said that was the first time you've ever held a game controller and played a game?
Yeah.
That can't be true.
Sure it can.
That's amazing. For some reason that I don't believe like that. I mean, I believe you. I don't think you're lying to me, but that's just wow. That's very surprising. So, but that was some good game in there, right?
Yeah, except I didn't know which buttons to push.
Yeah, you're like, is it? Where's my menu?
All of them. You push all of them.
Just mash the keyboard. That's how I play when I go. If I go keyboard and mouse, I'm absolutely lost. I have I'm shooting in the sky and at the floor and at my toes. I can't aim anywhere. I'm just like, oh my god, keyboard is horrible for me. I'm no good at that at all. It's crazy. Oh, Kara and I played some Mario Kart earlier today. Kara, that was awesome. Thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start some sort of some Mario Kart. We might do like a little separate mini podcast, but we're having our own little ASA podcasting Mario Kart group that we're calling ASAPodcasting with a K. So we can all join up. If you guys out there have a Switch and you want to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with us and hop in and play. We had lots of fun this afternoon. We're going to incorporate Google Hangouts and record the audio and all of us, I guess, trash talking and just talking about the game and talking about strategy and the different courses and stuff. So that'll be really fun. If any of you out there have any interest in that, please contact us on the Twitter or over there in the Facebook. Kara, again, that was really fun. And Kara whooped my ass. Kara is really, really good. I'm gonna have to stay up late nights practicing watching Rocky. And on the side screen, I'll have to have Rocky on one side, giving me inspiration to get better. To catch. I'm gonna go punch some sides of beef so I can work on my Mario Kart skills to go catch Kara. She's really good. She whooped my ass numerous times.
Well, you whooped my ass the first 2 rounds. I had to adjust my play style first.
Yeah, she had to learn how to. She had to get reacquainted with the power slide. I always call it a power slide. What's it actually called? Drifting.
Yeah, drifting. It's not incorrect to call it a power slide, though. I'm
not familiar with like actual racing terms. I assume in real racing it's actually called drifting. So like.
Yeah. As I said earlier, like I totally abuse it. I abuse it so much. So I need to get better with it. I also need to unlock more tires. First of all, stuff with better traction and so on and so forth. So I won't abuse the drifting.
You like the traction? I actually like the slide a little bit. I like with my my drift.
Do they have dirt track?
What's that?
Do they have dirt track?
Technically, Excite Bike is dirt track.
And the Wario one.
Yeah,
right?
Wario Stadium.
Dirt bike. Yeah, it's a dirt bike sort of track. They have a couple of dirt tracks, yeah. And they have some monster truck tires and dirt bike tires and different stuff that you can add on to your carts and your motorcycles and stuff. So
yeah, I prefer motorcycle. Personally, I think motorcycles are OP. They really are. Yeah. But that won't stop me from using it.
I was reading online. There's evidently some like two different kinds of motorcycles, and one of them can do a move called inside drifting, and the other one's like outside drifting. And I was reading about it, and then I just sort of like played the two different motorcycles and messed with the difference between the inside and the outside drift. And it'll take me a while to get used to the inside drift because it's so different on how it works around turns. But I'm so used to the outside drift. Have you ever used the inside drift bikes? Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I don't know the difference between the bikes, or rather, I haven't paid enough attention to know which ones are which. I'll just attempt to do an inside drift, and if it doesn't work, then I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll figure it out next race.
A little tip. In the menu when you're selecting your character, your bike, and your parachute item, there's a little icon down at the bottom near the stats when you open up the stats menu.
Yeah.
The icons are different between the two bikes, and the fatter bike icon is the inside drift, and the skinnier bike icon is the outside drift.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Good to know.
So that was Mario Kart Hour. If anyone would like to join in the ASA Podkarting project, look for us on Twitter at ASA Podkarting, or get a hold of us at asapodkarting@gmail.com. That'd be so fun for you guys to join us. Kara and I had such a good time this afternoon with Shalene and Jeremy. Jeremy Bouts also joined in. That was a good time. Shout out to those guys. Thanks a lot. So also, speaking of Jeremy, but a different Jeremy, he is heading up our fantasy football league, and so thankful that someone is stepping up to do that. Jeremy, thanks a lot for doing that. But if you are into fantasy football, please, we've got a few more slots left open, and we'd love to fill out the league. So please get a hold of us and in the Facebook group, or if you get a hold of me on Twitter, I'll forward your message on to Jeremy. So if you're interested in fantasy football, please get a hold of us there. That'd be so great. And let's see. Pat was actually showing me right before we logged on. There's an operation game, you know, the old hit the sides of the guy and it buzzes. The operation, his nose turns on, you know, that old game. There's one for Fallout that has the Vault Boy. I thought that was so. I didn't even look up the website or anything, but I thought that was funny. I'm sure you can just Google Operation Fallout or whatever.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
I don't know, that was like different stuff. It's on Amazon?
Yep.
Nice. That's cool stuff. And just before we close out for the evening, I just wanted to mention that I'm planning on having Aaron, our good buddy who does the Mind Fog podcast. We want to get him on in the next couple of weeks before we start up the next round of the round table. We have to kind of be careful when we have Aaron onto the show because he is still spoiler free 2 years after the release of Fallout 4. Wow. He is still spoiler free, but he does a podcast or it's sort of a narrative of his experience of going through his character going through the game, and he's taking it very slow and experiencing everything. It's a wonderful listen, and this podcast is incredible. So go check out the Mind Fog podcast. But we're going to have him on the show. But of course, you know, we all know everything, and we're just going to drop stuff all over the place, and we have to be careful about spoiling him. So we're probably going to have to do a sort of a side with him and then sort of drop it into the show so we don't accidentally spoil him for some stupid reason or something. So look forward to that. Here in the next couple of weeks, we'll talk to Aaron. And he won't, hear this, of course. He can't listen to our show because we'd spoil everything for him. So, but we still support the hell out of his show. It's good stuff. So everyone check out Mind Fog.
Yeah, it's great production values on his show.
It's wonderful. Anybody else have any closing thoughts? Kara or Ray, Lee?
I still want to see that Fallout Cribs series.
Fallout Cribs? Got any video editors in the audience? Go ahead and... Actually, Kara, you're a video editor, actually. Why don't you do that?
No, it was someone else to do all the work, and I just get to enjoy it.
I'm just an idea person.
I just did 2 years of video editing plus my job. Come on.
Oh, yeah, no fun.
No, I love it. I'd probably do it if I had the if I could actually build something worth videotaping, or not videotaping, but you know what I mean. God, I'm showing my age.
Too much like work.
Well, don't even complain about showing your age.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Punk.
You just got out of college.
Well, I mean, I am in my 30s, but you know.
Ooh.
Ooh, I know. So old.
I turned 60 this year, so there you go.
Yeah, someone
My
was
youngest
telling
child
me.
is 30.
Someone was telling me about having a what do you call it? A Sony Watchman, and I was like, "Don't you mean Walkman?" And he was like, "No, sweet summer child." And then he explained to me what it was. I was like, "Oh,
Isn't that the little portable TV?
yeah." Which
Yeah.
should have been indicative, but I was just like, I thought that he really meant Walkman. And I was like, I know what that is. I'm not so young as to. But yeah, no, I didn't know anything.
You are that young, actually, Care. Yeah, you are. Oh, great. So, guys, as we sign off this evening, I have one last question to ponder. And I just also want to mention that we will be getting into some King of the Bunker Hill after we sign off with the close off for the evening. So if you'd like to stick around live on the YouTube broadcast, you can listen to some King of the Bunker Hill, or you can listen to it, of course, on the podcast version later found in iTunes. So we will be getting to King of the Bunker Hill here in just a few moments. But as we sign off, guys, I wanted to ask you a question. When I was going through Twitter the other day, I found something. I think it's called Fallout Reddit or something like that on Twitter. But I follow one of those Twitter feeds, and they popped up a question that I thought was very interesting that I thought I would ask you guys. Does Fallout the game prepare you at all for an actual nuclear disaster? Does the nuclear apocalypse you benefit? Do you learn any skills at all through this video game that could be helpful in any way?
No.
I don't know.
You don't
Shoot
cook
first,
radiation
ask questions later.
Ray, I think that's just you.
Shoot first, ask questions later. There you go. Okay.
You don't cook radiation out of food.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I was like, meat that starts out radiated is going to stay radiated.
How do you treat water that's radiated? How do you remove radiation from water?
Wait a really long time.
There's no. You put a water filter in the ground, and then the ground gives you clean, purified water.
Yeah, not so much.
Will groundwater be radiated?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The aquifer will totally be completely contaminated.
Yeah.
Because the rainwater would seep through the earth, and if it picks up radiation from the surface, it would carry it down into the aquifer.
Do your twitch and eye-hand coordination reflex reactions improved by gaming help you?
Maybe reaction times.
Reaction times. When
you can hug that giant cockroach a lot faster.
Would that happen? Would there be giant cockroaches and people turned into ghouls?
Oh man, if there were giant cockroaches, I might just choose suicide. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like dour or anything, but I just don't know if I can live in that kind of world. Jeez and crow, I can barely handle them as they are now.
Ride 'em cowboy.
Just they're as big as cows, and now we farm them for meat and we ride them, and no, give me snakes any day. Snakes, bears, bats. Those are great. Those are awesome. Insects, no, thank you.
Radiated bats would be a good monster for the next Fallout game. Keep that in mind, Bethesda. We know.
There you go.
As long as you can VATS bats, you're okay.
That's
That's-
bad.
But you have to go get one of those. You have to get that metal bladed slugger from who's he? What's it? Tarzan guy face from.
It's not CC. What is it?
Not CC. What's his name? GC.
I think he should be renamed Who's he? What's he? Tarzan guy.
Tarzan. Cito. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Ray actually pays attention to. He's sensitive enough and courteous enough to actually pay attention to people's name when they introduce themselves.
You mean when he blows them away?
See, that's why he's a gentleman. He might murder your face, but he'll remember it.
Of course, he'll murder your face. What else do you do to people's faces?
So what
guys,
I'm
any
worried about is, so if a 6-inch long lizard turns into a 12-foot tall death claw,
Rancor?
A Rancor.
what is an 8-foot long Komodo dragon going to turn into?
Oh my gosh, Godzilla.
Godzilla. Right, yeah. What did Godzilla come from? He was
Godzilla.
the irradiated, iguana or something, right?
Yeah.
What do irradiated whales become? Or irradiated
Oh my God.
Those skeletons on the beach in Far Harbor?
That's what I was going to say.
like a great blue whale or so on and so forth.
Yeah. Would they can't get bigger. Would they get smaller?
Ooh, a
I
twist.
don't know. Maybe they would shoot laser beams out of their freaking thing.
So that's the sharks.
Sharks, yeah.
Or maybe they'd just be like red stacks and grow a second head.
And that's freaking laser
little
beams to you.
Freaking laser beams.
Oh, great. All right, guys, any other closing thoughts for the evening?
I think we killed it.
Great job. Thanks for hopping on, Lee. That's great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Pat, I'm sorry, Pat had to hop off there real quick, but Pat, I'm sure would say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Ray, of course, thanks for hopping on. Kara, great again to hear from you. I'm excited for all of us to get together for Fallout New Vegas next season. So coming up in the next couple of weeks, we'll hammer that down. We'll put out the schedule on the webpage. We're not going to publish the whole season's worth of the schedule because we're kind of going to get a feel of the sort of pacing of the roundtable as we go, and then we'll sort of update the schedule as we go, as we get the feel. We're thinking we're going to do a maximum of 2 quests per episode, which means that not every faction will have assigned quest for that episode. So be ready to have your side quest for your faction ready to go, because if you don't have an assigned quest for that particular episode of the roundtable, you'll want to have some stuff for your character to do. So go ahead and look up all your side quests for your faction and be ready to have those to go ahead and adventure with your character while the other factions will be going on a particular episode. But we'll try to bounce back and forth and do a maximum of 2 quests per episode, because we don't want to go into like 3 or 4 hour episodes. We want to keep these down to 60 to 90 minutes. You know what I mean? Keep them nice and tight, and be able to cover some really good material, but also get to everyone's feedback. And we hope that we encourage a lot of people to hop back in to New Vegas. I've never really done a full playthrough of it. I've experienced on 2 small playthroughs now, but I haven't gotten all the way through to the end. So, I'm excited to get into this game. It has a reputation of being one of the best games in the Fallout series, if not the best. A lot of people I see online are so disappointed in Fallout 4, and they're like, Bethesda, you need to give the rights back to Obsidian to let them make the game, because you don't know, you ruined the Fallout series with Fallout 4. I roll my eyes super hardcore when I see people make that comment, but that's just silly. Yeah. Do you guys have any last thoughts for Kara and Lee and Ray and Pat? Sorry, Pat had to hop off there. I am Andrew. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this episode of the Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey,
I did it again, Ray.
Thank you for downloading this edition of Let's Play Fallout, presented
Played
by
the
the
wrong
Fallout
fucking
Feed
outro
and
again.
ASAPodcasting. Fallout Feed at gmail.com.
you were just so anxious to step on my outro.
Amazon link
I just need
and
to,
all other network information. Please
better
head on
label
over
my-
to
My
ASAPodcasting.com,
SoundCloud.
where you will find.
By the way, it was actually Wendy who was talking about custom creation, considering all that stuff.
Was Wendy who did what?
Skyrim.
Was musing on Twitter about the custom creation lab.
12-hour charity stream to benefit CFF.org.
Thank you,
Our YouTube channel,
Wendy,
plus other great content.
for
Once again,
joining
thank you
us
for
on the
downloading, and we'll see you
YouTube
in
chat. Can we do any long distance dedications?
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to ASAPodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
Everybody, please stay tuned for the last and final episode of the first season of King of the Bunker Hill. This is featuring Jack, Ray, and Shalene. We're super excited. This is the first time we'd ever tried to do a three-way sort of participant-wise with the King of the Bunker Hill, so I'm sort of glad that it worked out this way. And again, if you guys would like to hit us up on the email or the Twitter, we're taking ideas for King of the Bunker Hill. If you would like for us to do another just sort of quiz show like we did just the first season, we are more than glad to do that trivia, but we're also thinking of maybe shaking it up a little bit and maybe playing a different game. If you guys have any ideas, or if you are really adamant that you want us to keep doing another trivia, we will gladly go ahead and do another trivia round. So if you'd like to give us some feedback on that, that would be great. So I'd like to thank all of our King of the Bunker Hill participants all season long. It's been a wonderful project that we've had lots of fun with. And of course, we have to thank Susan first and foremost, that being Laura, of course. Thank you, Laura, so much for your participation. But our contestants this season on King of the Bunker Hill: Michelle, Adam, Lee, Ray, Neil, Craig, Jack, Kara, Nate, and Shalene. Yeah, I think that is everybody who participated. Thank you so much, everyone. We love the community aspect of this and of our show. So I love it when you guys hop on and help us out and do fun stuff like this. So we're going to go ahead and play the season finale of King of the Bunker Hill. Here's episode 10. And so everybody enjoy. Live from Vault 97, it's the King of the Bunker Hill Quiz Show Challenge. It's the show where contestants compete to come back week after week to see who can collect the most Funko mystery minifigures. Brought to you by the Fallout Feed and ASAPodcasting. And now, your host, Susan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls. It is once again time to take part in the most exciting show in all the Wasteland. And today's episode, we are seeking to find the wisest in all of the Wasteland, the true champion in this week's edition of the King of the Bunker Hill, Champion of Champions. So this week, we don't have any new, fresh challengers. Everyone here is a seasoned pro. We have last week's winner, Jack, 2-time funky vinyl pop figure winner. He's here tonight. How are you doing, Jack? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good. How are you?
Excellent. I'm chirpy as hell. So we are all good, and we have also the longest running champion who was defeated by Jack. We have Ray. Ray, how are you doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Are you happy to be back here in Vault 97?
Always looking for a chance to redeem myself.
Excellent stuff. Well, I'm taking you're going to be out for vengeance. And because, and I quote, according to our sponsors, the Fallout Feed and ASAPodcasting, Susan, let's keep flogging this dead horse. Let's try to make things a little bit more interesting. I need to fill time. We're going to add a wild card entry, and that is Shailene. So we have Shailene here tonight with us in Vault 97. How are you, Shailene? You're looking a little ghoulish, some might say.
Indeed, I am adjusting well to ghoulification.
It's good. Well, you know, I'm equal opportunities here down in Vault 97. I mean, I've never had a ghoul here before, but I am very pro.
My nose, but other than that, you know.
Yeah, how do you wear sunglasses?
Well, it involves tape.
Okay. All right. I mean, I've got some blue tack you could maybe use. I mean, could we maybe fashion you a nose out of blue tack, you know, sort of a putty type thing, see how that goes. We'll get back to this after the show. Anyway, really lovely to have you here with us on the show. So, and thank you for adjustment as well. It's a real privilege to have my first call here in Vault 97, and just to prove to people I am not all words about supporting ghouls. I actually shake hands with them. So his shake hands there, Shailene. It's not as slimy as I thought it would be. So great. Okay. That's that done. Let's just wipe that there. Okay. Right. So how this is going to work is, Shailene, as you are the wild card entry, you will be going first tonight, and that means that Ray and Jack are going to have to get together in the soundproof booth, which Mr. Wigglesworth did not expand, despite the fact that I asked him to. So I don't know, maybe Jack, if you sit on Ray's lap, that might, I don't know. You can work it out. So if you guys just head over to the booth for me. We'll,
Not in that power armor.
Yeah, no power armor. Just you know, get in there, and I've got some. Here's some butter that might help. Anyway, off you go, and give me the signal when you're ready to go, and we'll start the round with Shailene.
Can do.
Okay. Well, that looks that looks. If you lift your leg up, maybe. If the location of the Valentine Detective Agency represented a defensive position on a baseball diamond, which position would that be?
I don't know much about baseball. That's the sport where the men beat each other to death with the bats, right?
I think it's just an inferior form of cricket, to be honest. But I just
say.
Okay, second base. Well, because I think I have no way to give you a better clue for this, I'm going to take your answer, and unfortunately, that is incorrect. It is shortstop. Shortstop is the correct answer. So, yep. Who knows what that is? I'm assuming they're a very small person who stops people from moving. Maybe some kind of little person.
Bat.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. I have to look that one up in the old library. Okay, never mind. That doesn't matter. Shake it off. Let's move on to question 2. Question 2. Name the mutated human who has a symbiotic relationship with the tree named Bob growing out of his head in the original Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
His name is Harold.
Is correct. Well done. You're on the scoreboard and only on question 2, so excellent stuff. So 1 out of 2. That's perfect. Let's move on to question 3. Okay. On what date was Fallout 4 released?
That was November of 2015. I'm trying to think of the exact date.
So I'm going to say, I will tell you right so far.
I think it was maybe the 15th.
Final answer?
My first inclination was to say the 11th, but I don't think that's right either. I'm going to go with my first instinct and say that it was November the 11th.
Okay. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. But you were so close. The correct answer is... Thank you, Andrew Bott. The correct answer is November the 10th, 2015. I know, so close, but I could not give you any more clues, I'm afraid. Okay, so that's okay. We're 1 out of 3. Shake it off. Let's move on to 4. Name the new Fallout tabletop game being made by Modiphius, set to be released in November 2017.
I have seen a bit about this. It was Wasteland.
It's good so far. Think alliteration.
Yes, Wasteland Warfare.
Yes, that is correct. So, there you go. Okay, so we're 2 out of 4. Final question. The Fallout series is regarded as a spiritual successor to which Forerunner video game released in 1988, whose general setting and concept were the basis of the original Fallout?
Wasteland. They couldn't get the rights for Wasteland, so they made Fallout.
Excellent. Well, you're right. That is bang on. Okay, 3 out of 5, Shailene. Another great showing. But I'm going to give you the tiebreaker because they are super duper fun. So, here is the tiebreaker. Codsworth was given the ability to speak common names of the English-speaking world. How many names could Codsworth say upon initial release in Fallout 4?
Oh, goodness. It was quite a few.
It is definitely quite a few.
Let's see. And so many were added later. I think there were 2 additional rounds of names that were added.
But Brunhilde?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
Let's see. I'm going to say it was 2,000 on initial release.
2,000 on initial release. Okay, we'll keep that number in your head, but you can stay here and listen to the other 2 guys. So you got 3 out of 5. Well done, Shailene. I'm feeling good things. Take a seat over there, and please don't shed on my furniture. All right, can we please have Ray out of the booth? If he just maybe unhooks his arm, he could get out there. Ray is yeah, that really does look. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you all right, Ray? How was that for you?
Need a second to stretch.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, just maybe do some sort of lunges right now. Definitely to get that kind of going, get the blood pumping, because that was probably a little bit booth. I will be completely honest. I've not bothered to.
I noticed.
Yeah, that's just an extra expense, really. Okay, right, Ray. Well, Shailene, she had another stonking round. She's a right little trooper, is old Shailene, despite her recent change in circumstances. So we'll. But it is now your turn. This is your chance for redemption, Ray. Your chance to, be the old back to claim his pride. And I don't know where this metaphor's going, so I'm going to stop talking now. But are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Question 1. In Diamond City, if the location of the Valentine Detective Agency represented a defensive position on a baseball diamond, Which position would that be?
Shortstop.
Oh, off the bat, yes, that is correct. Well done. It is indeed shortstop, whatever that may be. Question 2. A mutated human who has a symbiotic relationship with a tree named Bob growing out of his head in the original Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
I have not met him.
Not met him? I mean, named after an English king, I can only assume, but I don't know if that will help you.
George?
It is not that one. Not all one of them. No, I'm afraid it is not George. The correct answer is Harold. Yeah, thank you, Andrew Bott. Okay, never mind. 1 out of 2. It's all good. Question 3. On what date was Fallout 4 released?
11/23/16.
Final answer?
10/23/16.
I'm afraid that is incorrect. It is 2015. Yeah, you were just you've been playing it for a lot longer than you think. I know it's so much fun. The time does fly away, but it has been out a couple of years now. Yeah. Question 4. Name the new Fallout tabletop game being made by Modiphius, set to be released in November 2017.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Name the Fallout tabletop game, so the board game, being made by Modiphius, set to be released in November 2017. And I'll give you a clue. It's got one of what they love in Fallout, an alliterative title.
I got nothing.
Okay. So I just don't want to hazard a guess at anything sort of I don't know, so beyond that, I can't give you many clues. Okay, never mind. That is incorrect. The correct answer is Fallout Wasteland Warfare, or just Wasteland Warfare. I would have accepted. Thank you, Andrew Bott. Okay, right. So we're at question 5 so far. It's 1 out of 4 so far, but don't worry. Here is question 5. The Fallout series is regarded as a spiritual successor to which Forerunner video game, released in 1988, whose general setting and concept were the basis of the original Fallout? And it's a word that's a very familiar word in the Fallout franchise and the Fallout lore in general.
I don't know.
Okay. Don't want to hazard a guess at all? Just throw a word out. It's a word. I'll give you that clue.
Wasteland.
It is! Yes, there you go. Well done. See, guessing sometimes pays off in this game. Okay, so that was 2 out of 5. Excellent stuff. Here is the tiebreaker, and it's a doozy. Codsworth was given the ability to speak common names of the English-speaking world. How many names could Codsworth say upon initial release in Fallout 4?
52.
52. All right, the final, 52. Right, okay. All right, well, that was, I can tell you, Ray, you got 2 out of 5, and you've obviously given me a tiebreaker question. You're now free to sit here in the beautiful air-conditioned studio whilst we get Jack out of the booth and see how he does. So please take a seat. And Andrew Bott, can we bring Jack back into the room, please?
Boop, 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 boop.
Hello.
Hello, Jack. Okay, how are you feeling? I am sorry that was a little uncomfortable.
It's a little stuffy.
I mean, but we're at the end of the series. I can expand it for next time, so don't worry. Of course, if I had had more warning, I might have expanded it or got Mr. W to spend more time on it. But never mind. It's all over now. We are All good to go. So, Jack, it's been interesting. I have to say, Ray and Shailene doing exceptionally well, as you'd expect in this Champions of
Good.
Champions episode. So, how are you feeling? Are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, so here we go. Question 1. In Diamond City, if the location of the Valentine Detective Agency represented a defensive position on a baseball diamond, which position would that be?
Let's see. So when you walk into Diamond City, the first thing is the home plate. Shortstop?
That is correct. Well done. Good knowledge of baseball there. Thank you, Andrew Bott.
It's my favorite.
Yes, well done. Excellent stuff. Okay, so 1 for 1. Question 2. Name the mutated human who has a symbiotic relationship with a tree named Bob growing out of his head in the original Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
It's Harold.
It is Harold. We are 2 for 2. Well done. Okay, here's things getting a little bit tricky. Question 3. On what date was Fallout 4 released?
November 10th, 2015.
That is correct. Look, 3 for 3. Well done. You are on fire, Jack. Okay, let's see if we can keep it going. Question 4. Name the new Fallout tabletop game being made by Modiphius, set to be released in November 2017.
Wasteland Warfare.
That is correct. Okay, 4 for 4. Here it gets tough. Question 5. Fallout series is regarded as a spiritual successor to which Forerunner video game, released in 1988, whose general setting and concept were the basis of the original Fallout?
I believe it was Wasteland.
That is correct. Well done. That is 5 out of 5. And I'm pleased to tell you, Jack, that makes you our champion of champions. So everyone here, let's give him a big round of applause. So well done. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Commiserations to Ray and Shailene. You were both absolutely spectacular competitors. Oh, but I have forgotten one very important thing. Tiebreaker. So before you disappear, Jack, and do your lap of honor around Vault 97, here is the tiebreaker. Codsworth was given the ability to speak common names of the English-speaking world. How many names could Codsworth say upon initial release in Fallout 4?
I'm going to say 750.
Okay, and that also actually makes you the winner of the tiebreaker, because I believe, Shailene, you said 2,000.
Oh.
I think, Ray, you said 50. And the actual answer is 924. So
wow.
That's not too bad, right, Jack? That was a really, really good attempt. So, but well done, Jack. You are our champion of champions. Ray, Shailene, commiserations, but it has been so much fun having you all on the show, and it has been really, really good fun. And from all of us here at Vault 97, West Vault Radio, the Fallout feed, and ASA Podcasting, take care, guys, and we will see you at another date in the future. Hopefully we'll get renewed for season 2. So take care, guys, and stay safe out there. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the King of the Bunker Hill Quiz Show Challenge, brought to you by the Fallout feed and ASA Podcasting. Join Susan next time to see who will win the coveted Funko Mystery Minifigures and be crowned King of the Bunker Hill.
Then we're also just obviously 2 of you.
Yeah, we'll have to duck 2 into the booths. Yeah.
to get cozy in the booth. And let me just make sure I've got the questions.
Is there enough room in the booth for all those butt cheeks?
It's a big booth. It's fine. It's a big booth.
We just have to replace. We have to replace the pads.
The pads.
Well, I'm a ghoul now. I've lost.
Yes, you are a ghoul.
That's the
I
thing.
need to go in the booth.
That's the thing. Ray didn't even go home. He just went back to the booth.
I'm gonna have to start charging him rent for the booth.
He has permanent residence of the booth.
Oh, God.
He's got squatters' rights in the booth.